There's one game left in Barcelona's Champions League phase, just one. And right now, Barca are not guaranteed a top 8 finish, and the margins couldn't be tighter. Top 8 means a clean route to the round of 16. Miss out, and suddenly you are dealing with playoffs, extra games, and real danger. So in this video, I want to break down where Barcelona stand, why Matchday 8 is loaded with pressure, and why, despite the win against Slavia Prague, I'm genuinely concerned heading into this final game. Under this new Champions League format, finishing in the top 8 is massive. It means automatic qualification to the round of 16, fewer games in an already congested calendar, less fatigue, fewer injuries, and above all, control. And trust me, once you fall into the playoff zone, control disappears. One bad night, and suddenly, your European season is over. For a young Barcelona team still learning to manage elite-level pressure, avoiding that extra round is not a luxury. It is critical. Now, let's rewind back to Barcelona's last game away at Slavia Prague. Yes, it was a 4-2 win. Yes, the 3 points were important, but let's be honest, that performance was far from convincing. Defensively, Barcelona struggled badly, especially on set pieces. We conceded 2 goals from dead ball situations. And that is not something you can brush aside, because if Slavia Prague can hurt you from set pieces, what happens when the levels go up? Even though Barca showed character and rallied to win, that game felt more like a warning sign than a confidence boost. And then came the bigger problem. During the game against Slavia Prague, Pedri got injured, and now the club has confirmed he will be out of action for 1 month. That is a huge loss, not just creatively, but also in terms of control and rhythm. And on top of that, Frenkie de Jong picked up a yellow card in the game against Slavia Prague, and now he will be suspended for our final game against FC Copenhagen due to yellow card accumulation. So let that sink in. Barcelona going to their most important Champions League game of the group phase without their first choice midfield pairing. No Frenkie, no Pedri. In a game where control will be everything, that's worrying. Now, let's zoom out and look at the table. After 7 games, 8 teams are on 13 points, separated only by goal difference. This is insane. 1 extra goal scored, 1 goal conceded, 1 late moment elsewhere, and suddenly you're in or out of the top 8. Don't get it twisted. This isn't just tense for the teams of 13 points. It is also uncomfortable even for teams that are slightly above them. In reality, only 2 teams are completely safe. Arsenal on 21 points and Bayern Munich on 18 points. Everyone else is vulnerable. One thing I'm sure of is that we will all be looking at the Champions League table from minute to minute, because on that day, anything can happen at any time. And now, let's talk about FC Copenhagen, because this is crucial. FC Copenhagen are on 8 points, sitting 26th on the table. The playoff cutoff is 24th. Which means they need a win, and this is absolutely not a dead rubber. They have something to play for. In their last game at home, they drew against Napoli 1-1. Now, I won't call this an incredible result because Napoli themselves have been poor in this competition, but it does show that they are competitive, they are organized, and they are stubborn. And here is where my biggest concern comes in. Against Napoli, FC Copenhagen started with 2 strikers. Both of them are almost 6'4". That should immediately raise alarm bells. Because Barcelona have already shown vulnerability on set pieces, most recently against Slavia Prague. Now, combine that with relatively short defenders, poor marking at dead balls, and a team like FC Copenhagen who know exactly where their strength lies. All they need is a corner, and suddenly you are in trouble. That's what worries me most about this game. Now, let's talk permutations, because this is where it gets brutal. Other key games: Newcastle away to PSG, Chelsea away to Napoli, Sporting Lisbon away to Athletic Bilbao. Every one of those results matters. Now, regarding goal difference, we also need to factor in Atalanta, Atletico Madrid, and of course Manchester City. These teams are not that far away from us on the table based on how many goals they have scored and how many goals they have conceded. This brings us to the next point. This is the kind of game where Barcelona cannot afford to concede, not because it automatically knocks them out, but because every single goal matters. One conceded goal could be the difference between finishing 7th and 9th, the difference between finishing in the top 8 and going through the playoffs. the margins are that thin. This is a game that demands near perfect performance. So top 8 or bust, Barcelona have the quality, but the circumstances are unforgiving. Defensive fragility, midfield absences, and an opponent with height, motivation, and something to play for. Win, and it's a statement. Concede cheaply and the consequences could be huge. Matchday 8 will tell us exactly how ready this team really is. So what do you think? Can Barcelona navigate this pressure cooker, or do those set pieces come back to haunt them? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like this video if you enjoyed this breakdown, and subscribe for post-match reaction. Because after this, there are no more calculations, only answers. Until then, live well, be safe, and Visca Barca.